Hey everybody, Carol Mahoney here from Unbound Growth, coming off of our live weekly sales lab, where we were actually sent in a question today that actually relates to our topic, which was about discounting. But the question was sent in from an entrepreneur who asked, besides selling on value or bringing value and educating the buyer, what do buyers really appreciate most in salespeople these days? This is a really important question, especially when you consider the topic that we had this week of discounting and the real cost of it, but we'll get to that in a moment. Back to the question of what is it that buyers appreciate most? So when I heard this question, the first thing that I thought of was Deb Calvert's book, Stop Selling and Start Leading, that she wrote with leadership experts Barry Posner and James Koos. In their research, they surveyed 530 B2B buyers and found that buyers really appreciate and value a personal and customized experience. They shared both the research and 5 leadership best practices for sellers to adopt to create that experience. Now, if you're a salesperson watching this, then know that your ability to sell consultatively to help buyers make the best decisions is crucial to both creating that experience and uncovering what the buyer deems as valuable, because value is in the eye of the beholder. Now, there's several attributes to be able to master these competencies, but what they have in common is active listening and asking a lot of really great and tough questions. Now, great questions and sometimes tough questions are that second layer of questions that explore why something is a problem and whether or not the buyer realizes it. It's this second layer of question in your thread of questions that is needed to elaborate about what you've discovered in that first layer. By asking buyers, what is their perspectives of the problem and how do they think it should be solved? Now, why is this so important? There's a Stanford University study that showed that when you're asking these types of elaboration questions, it helps the asker, or in this case, the salesperson, understand someone else's viewpoints. You're getting their world and their perspective from their words. The study also showed that these types of questions also help the person who is being asked, i.e. the buyer, to be more receptive to other ideas, even if those ideas are contrary to their own. So asking elaboration questions helps sellers to understand buyers, but it also helps buyers to start to see things from a different perspective. Now, there's another study from Harvard University that showed how disclosing information impacts our brains. Using functional magnetic resonant imaging, it showed that those people who answered questions that required them to state their opinions, quote unquote, increased the activity in the area of the brain associated with reward and pleasure, which means that buyers actually like answering these types of questions, because who doesn't like talking about what they think? So if you've only asked this first layer of questions, then you've missed an opportunity to create the experience that buyers value. And if you've missed the second layer, guaranteed you have certainly missed the third layer, and that's my favorite. The third layer of questions is my favorite because it gets to why this is important for them to fix. What are the consequences of it if it's not? How will that impact them personally? This third and most important level of questions gets to the buying motivation or reason to change the status quo. It also gets buyers to move closer to what it is they want or wish to avoid. Understanding how they're going to benefit from the solution enables you as a salesperson to show how their solution is going to satisfy that. So this is how salespeople can build trust with buyers, because they feel that salespeople get them. You're aligning your goals. But here's the kicker. Those who are using discounts to try to create urgency are doing the exact opposite of this. They're less likely to be able to create urgency with a discount because it's not real, it's fake urgency. When you've asked layered questions, you uncover their urgency to act. And if you need a discount to get someone to try and act, then you really have not done your job as a salesperson. But if this is you, you're not alone. There's data from Objective Management Group that tells us that the top 10% of salespeople in the world have 62% of the attributes necessary to master consultative selling, and 83% of the attributes necessary to truly sell on value. Whereas the bottom 10% of salespeople only have 31% of the attributes necessary for a consultative seller and 39% for a value seller. A little bit goes a long way. But there's still a lot of work to do in order to eliminate this archaic practice of end-of-month discounting. Of the nearly 1.8 million salespeople worldwide, only they only have 45% of the consultator seller attributes and only 60% of the value seller attributes. It's do or die time for some organizations out there. But join me next week. We're going to talk with my friend and colleague, Jane Gentry, about how to make negotiations less painful. So check out the link below to learn more and reserve your spot. And let's continue this conversation, because I would love nothing more than to see discounts be eliminated from the sales repertoire and language.